I think a lot of it started when I joined theater. I joined a theater company called Phantom Projects, and it was a teams on tour traveling theater company. And the tour that we went on, the show that we kind of used when we went on tour, it's called Center of the Universe. The whole cast was made up of teen actors, and we only really performed in front of a teen audience. And what it was about is it talked about tolerance and racism and bullying, and how we can better understand those topics in a kind of a broken down way. And so we played characters that were marginalized. I actually played a character of a KKK member and had to perform this monologue of, hate and garbage, And it was kind of hard because it was on purpose that they wanted a male of color to be able to perform that role because of, the impact of it. And so only half of it was the actual performance. The other half was a Q&A. So after we were done, the message was said, we tried to get these students to kind of understand what our message was. And the show was called Center of the Universe because we are the center of our own universes. And if things happen to us, it affects the people in our environment and around us as well. And so the show kind of portrayed that message. And so in the Q&A part, we would have to be prepared to answer questions like, I have a friend who's being bullied because they're gay. What can I do? And those are really hard questions for like a 17, 18-year-old. The youngest person in the cast that we had was 13. To be able to prepare to answer those kind of questions. And so we would bring in, experts and professionals and people that are very well versed in these fields to be able to help us answer questions that are heavy impact. I really wanted to bring in what I learned in my youth and in my theater and bring it to a classroom and bring it to, everyone that I interact with and the programs that I in the future was going to, join. What's so crazy and different about the protests and the advocacy of this past summer is we're seeing about 50% of the population that are supporting and going to these protests are white. And so we're seeing populations and communities that historically may not have been as supportive or come out in those large numbers. And so we're seeing progression of these communities that are starting to be more supportive and be able to give these marginalized communities more of a voice. And that gives me hope. I think that's absolutely amazing to see that. But unfortunately, as you saw, things are going to have to get a bit worse before it gets better. We're going to have to really face the pain of what our country is right now and the state that it is right now. And as a history major, future teacher, that hits me, right at home. Unfortunately, America has a history, a very ugly history. And I feel like in order for people to really appreciate where we're at right now, we have to face the ugliness of where we came from, and understand that there is racism in America, that there is inequity in America, and I'm hoping we move forward towards people that we give a platform to marginalized communities that are able to make some progress. We need to have these conversations of racism in America and racism in the world, regardless of where you're at. As for myself, I hope to use the platform that I have not to speak for any other community, but to use my platform to amplify the voices of the communities that are already trying to say something. I feel like what the university can do is just to continue being consistent and continue to be also persistent on wanting to create trainings and wanting to continuously want to adapt and better their already really good, diversity programs and initiatives and stuff. The Tighten Together program is an amazing thing that I feel like the university has right on the nose. So let's make it bigger, make it a bigger focus every year and consistently give it spotlight, So I think the university is doing a good job. I think we can always do better, and I think we have to just continue to make it happen. I guess if you ever talk to a future teacher, like on my free time, I think about like certain lessons I want to teach them and how I want to approach my students with different topics. And I'm so grateful that I'm going to Cal State Fullerton, and that like the credential program I want to attend to is Cal State Fullerton's, because there are certain prerequisite classes that I have to take in order to, you know, get in the credential program. And one of them is diversity in secondary education. And that is the class where you learn on how to teach that and how you learn how to kind of angle at that. And it's super cool because different units are different communities, and how we want to, as teachers, use that platform to be able to give voice to those communities and help others understand. I feel like we focus too much on the white heroes of America, which there are white heroes in America, but you know, we don't spend enough time talking about the other communities other than the white community in our textbooks. I grew up not knowing what like the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, you know, which is something that's so important, especially as a Californian, you know, to understand what that is. And so I think it's going to be important to also highlight heroes and important people and events that have heavily impacted the backgrounds of my students. You know, of putting up posters of not just Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, but let's put up, you know, Cesar Chavez and, you know, Gandhi. I feel like it's important to be able to give the history that's not told. And I feel like there are ways that we're able to do that creatively through lectures and what students see. So I would love to have like a wall of, you know, like American heroes, and it being as diverse as it can get, because that is a reflection of America.